my name is Amanda Saunders, and today I will be doing my individual debate on discussing the ethics of e-cig advertising. So we're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of e-cigarette advertising. E-cigarettes, or e-cigs for short, are electronic smoking devices that heat a liquid solution until it produces an inhalable aerosol. And the liquid in e-cigs usually contain nicotine, which is the addictive chemical found in cigarettes. E-cigarettes emerged as an alternative to smoking combustible cigarettes. However, when they first came out, they were marketed as a healthier alternative to cigarettes. And now that there has been a rise in health concerns related to vape-related illnesses, they are unable to deem themselves as smoking cessation products, which just means that they are not allowed to say they've actually helped people stop smoking in general, because now they have their own risks associated with them. Let's go into the arguments that say why e-cigarette advertising is ethical. So beginning with the fact that it is supposed to help as a solution for individuals that are suffering from a nicotine addiction related to combustible cigarettes. This is a motive to reduce the number of deaths and illnesses related to traditional tobacco consumption. And therefore, e-cigarette advertising is supposed to inform individuals on a way to help with or end their current addiction. E-cigarette companies aim to target adults that are already smoking traditional tobacco products because lung cancer related to smoking cigarettes is actually one of the top leading causes of deaths in America under preventable diseases. Therefore, e-cigarette companies use this to their advantage to try and entice cigarette smokers into converting to e-cigarette smokers. Another argument would be that e-cigarette advertising is already being regulated because many consumers are unaware of the benefits that they would have switching to e-cigarettes because of the limits that are placed on e-cigarette advertising. So therefore, some would argue that it is already being regulated and therefore ethical. However, diving deeper into e-cigarette advertising not being ethical, we should look at the rise of vape-related illnesses and hospitalizations. There's not been enough time since the invention and the popularity of e-cigarettes to truly do extensive research to link vapes with a certain health effect. This example reminds me a lot of traditional tobacco advertising. Back in the 1920s, that is when Philip Morris and other tobacco companies were completely funding the television and radio broadcasts. There was no science or evidence to prove that cigarette smoking was directly related to cancer. And by 1964, 40% of Americans were users of traditional tobacco. And later in that year, the U.S. Surgeon General's report came out clarifying that, yes, tobacco smoking is directly related to lung cancer. And after that, in 1971, cigarette advertising in the U.S. on broadcast was banned. So the traditional tobacco advertising reminds me that e-cigarette advertising is unethical because we do not have enough research to ensure that vapes do not cause their own health problems, and it would be a real shame to realize the negative health effects of vapes in years to come when so many Americans' health will already be compromised based on their long-term usage that they started back when vapes first came out / when they saw their first vape advertisement. Another major issue with e-cigarette advertising is that it influences the youth. The small, compact shapes of the vapes, the colors being vibrant, and then, of course, the different flavors in e-cigarettes are all attributed to being attractive to the young population. And this is very concerning because in 2017, for example, 69% of middle and high school students were exposed to e-cigarette advertisements. There was also evidence to show that smoking vapes can be a gateway to trying traditional tobacco products. This completely defeats the purpose of e-cigarette advertising, as it is supposed to help someone quit a bad habit instead of picking up a new bad habit. Therefore, given all the evidence I just presented, I do believe that e-cigarette advertising is not ethical by any means. Advertising e-cigarettes before really understanding the long-term health effects of their usage, advertisers promoting these products is just asking for history to repeat itself, as we experienced in 1960 when all these Americans that were already smoking cigarettes began to realize they were at risk for lung cancer. Given that advertising e-cigarette directly influences the youth and creates a gateway for young adults to become nicotine addicts, e-cigarette advertising should have to follow the same guidelines as tobacco companies. Thank you so much for listening to my debate on e-cigarette advertising. I hope you're having a great quarantine, if that's what we're still in while you're watching this. Thanks for the semester. Bye!